Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Your Health. I'm your host, Lisa Hart. Well, today I am joined by Annette Walker, who is the president of City of Hope, Orange County. And we're going to chat about their 2020 year and what are some of their visions and expectations for the year 2021. Well, Annette, thank you so much for joining me. How are you today?
Oh, I'm great, Lisa. It's so good to see you, and it's such a beautiful day today.
It is. And you know, more so, you've got so many exciting things that you guys have been doing in 2020, even though we were under a pandemic. And then, of course, 2021 is going to be an exceptional year for you guys as well. So let's talk a little bit about 2020 and what were some of the challenges and exciting things that happened during that time?
Well, we started the year with opening our clinic in Newport Beach in January of 2020, which was super exciting. I know we've talked a little bit about this before of how many people were driving from Orange County to City of Hope's campus in Duarte, or how many people just basically leave Orange County to find that specialty cancer care. So opening Newport and putting it on the ground was a big step for us, and that happened in early January, and then the shutdown happened about 6 weeks after we opened. So I won't say it didn't put a little crimp in our or a little bee in our bonnet, as it did everybody's, but very pleased to say that despite that, we have been able to serve our patients in Newport. And the City of Hope has had a long-term understanding of the vulnerability of cancer patients. They are more vulnerable than most patients. They're immunocompromised. And even with COVID, I think you might be surprised to know that in general, the mortality rate for across the United States was 1.8%. It was 12% in long-term care facilities, but for cancer patients, if cancer patients got it, it was 26%.
Wow. Yeah.
So our radar was so on that we had to protect our patients and be even more safe. And we changed some of our policies about who can access a facility. But while we did that, we also didn't forget that, when a patient gets cancer, it's a traumatic and sobering event. So, I just got a call from a patient last week who was in Newport, and it was a husband of a patient. And he was thanking me because when his wife was diagnosed, she was the only one allowed in the facility, but the physician FaceTimed him in, so it was like he was in the room. So they both had the opportunity to hear what he had to say. He felt like he was part of the appointment, and both family members and patients need that mutual support during a time like getting cancer treatment. So we've done both. We've made sure our patients are safe, and then we've also made sure that we didn't forget some of the challenges that COVID brings on us that particularly might impact your emotional support and your ability to manage through a crisis like having cancer.
I think that's one thing that is pretty exceptional, that you were able to take care of the patients and their loved ones in that fashion. Because I think over and over on TV, we've heard nothing but, oh, the poor person is all by themselves and they're dying by themselves. And that is just awful. Not that your folks were in that situation, but nonetheless, the more you can have their loved ones near and dear via Zoom, it's so much better. And I know you and I have talked about this before, where even though we're not in the same room, there still is some personability to it.
Oh, totally there is. And, it's, I don't know if you've had a complicated medical situation, but sometimes when a doctor is telling you these things, you're maybe sometimes remembering 50% of what they told you. Mm-hmm. And so having that other person there is so important, but also just emotionally, the other person also needs to hear and hear the reassurance of the physician and what the plan is. Yeah. So it's an extremely important element of all cancer care, and I'm so happy to say we didn't forget that part.
Yeah, that's great. Especially when you're trying to make sure everyone is safe, including your staff, patients, loved ones, everybody involved. But you were able to pull that off for the most part. I mean, and you're still doing it today because we're not quite out of this quite yet, so you're still at the highest safety level, so that's great. Now, speaking of our pandemic situation, there's an awful lot of vaccines that are coming down the pike, and we have 2 that we're using today and a few more on the way, and I understand that City of Hope is also developing a vaccine. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, I'm not going to go into the science, but I'm going to bring to light a couple things that are really important to know. First of all, City of Hope has experience in developing vaccines that are particularly suitable for more vulnerable populations like cancer patients, because sometimes they can't take the same vaccines that a healthy person would. So we have experience in that arena. But the vaccine City of Hope is developing has 2 other very distinct elements. One is it doesn't have the freezer requirements that the Pfizer one has. And also the way it's being developed right now, it's targeted to be a single dose. So you can imagine if all that pans out, we're going to have a virus, or we're going to have a vaccine that could potentially be used on more immunosuppressed or more vulnerable populations. It could be distributed in more broadly. People think, oh, every doctor's office has the ability. Well, no, one of the reasons there's a lot of centralization of the vaccine right now is because not everybody has refrigerators that go to -100.
Yeah.
Even doctors' offices don't. Hospitals do, and special places do. But there's certain parts of the world, there's certain communities where that would be very difficult to extend it. And then it is logistically a challenge to make sure everybody gets 2.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That is true. Yeah.
2 doses is twice as hard as 1.
Well, exactly, and especially now because we're having a difficult time receiving the doses, and therefore you have to make sure that you get them within the time frame to be able to give that second one. So I can definitely see your point there. Explain to me a little bit about what a cancer patient might experience if they get the regular vaccine as opposed to one that might identify some of the things that they're having.
I am not the right person to ask that. That is a specific discussion between each patient and their physician, and their specific condition. So I didn't mean to imply that many cancer patients cannot take the vaccine. They can, but there are some where it may be a challenge, or some other conditions people have where they're very, very immunosuppressed, where they might want to have another need.
Right. Okay.
I didn't mean to imply they shouldn't. And please, everybody hear me. Don't say she heard Annette Walker from City of Hope say don't take the vaccine. That has to be a discussion with your doctor.
Right. So it obviously is independent of the individual and their particular case. Okay, I think that would apply not necessarily just to cancer patients, but to all patients, really. I mean, they might have comorbidities that would adversely affect the way that they receive it, right?
You're absolutely right. Every individual should be speaking with their physician on, are they advised to be taking the vaccine?
Okay. Now, one thing that is interesting is that you are looking for volunteers to participate.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
Well, a clinical trial is, when they do human trials, they always need to test it. I mean, you hear all this in the news. One of the reasons the Pfizer vaccine got out so fast is because they were able to get enough human individuals to volunteer in large numbers to demonstrate that the vaccine was safe. Mm-hmm. So City of Hope also is doing it. Now, City of Hope is not, we've done trials in the human or in the animals to know that they didn't have untoward effects on animals, and we don't think it's going to have untoward effects on human beings. But the fact is, the way the FDA works is you have to have volunteers who are participating in the trial. I personally would love to be in the trial, but unfortunately I'm too old, and because you have to be under 55.
Oh. So pretty much our residents will be out of that range because we're 55 and over. However, they might have a daughter or son or child that might want to be able to
that might be interested in, I think really looking at it, contributing to our community, that participation in a trial and what this might mean to our community it'd be a very good thing to participate in the trial if you could.
Yeah.
And like, for instance, I'm going to encourage my children to do the same thing.
Well, yeah, it's a good idea, because then you understand the process, you understand potentially the science behind it as well, and that's a good education nonetheless.
Yeah, but it's we're very safe. We do all kinds of checks and evaluations on people to make sure that we're keeping them safe. And
Exactly.
but anyway, if people are interested, there's a website that I think we have that we can put up on City of Hope, where if they're interested in being in the trial, we'd love to have them. So we can put that on your website, or I can have it sent out to you if you want to share that.
All right. So, Annette, we're going to take a break right now, and then when we come back, we want to talk all about 2021 and what are some of your expectations, and the new campus, I hear, is coming along just nicely, so we're going to take a look at that.
All right. Looking forward to it.
All right, so stay tuned. When we come back from our break, we are going to talk about the new Irvine campus that City of Hope is already started, so stay tuned.
Today, we are marking the beginning of a new era as City of Hope opens its first location right here in Newport Beach.
We have 500 scientists and doctors who have dedicated their lives to beating cancer. So they use that intellectual capital to try to make sure every patient gets the best care possible that's known to science.
City of Hope for 100 years has been about serving the community and engaging collaborators who share a vision of a world without cancer.
We are in the future home of City of Hope, Orange County. The vision is that we bring all of that intellectual capability and science and expertise that City of Hope already has right here into Irvine, California, into this building.
We're now actually in the development design, DD, where we are looking at what goes in the rooms and where the equipment needs to go. When we're doing this mock design, we use cardboard for a lot of reasons. It allows the staff to actually move things. We cut out windows, we cut out doors. Is this wide enough for a gurney? What does it look like when we have a wheelchair come down this way?
Being in an empty building, it seems like there's so many possibilities, and it's amazing that they're letting us nurses come on board and kind of give our input, especially since we deal with patient care on a daily basis.
The engagement in having people design their space in which they or their colleagues are going to work and viewing it from their perspective makes all the difference in the world. It really is then in their hands to design the space of the future, and they got to actively participate in it.
We have almost up to 500 people who've participated in this, whether it's the staff, the physicians, we've had leadership, but we've also had patients and families and community members, everyone weighing in from their perspective.
I think that this is a very unique opportunity for a hospital to invite people in from the community. And it was beautiful because we were able to give you feedback from a cultural perspective.
Even during the design of the hospital, you started to think about feng shui, and so I felt the community going to be like, okay, they know about us, they thinking about us, and know the culture aspect.
I have actually been a patient at City of Hope for just over 21 years. You just cannot compare the care that we get at City of Hope anywhere to here. And to bring this to Orange County, to see the growth, and to be able to give others the opportunity to experience what we have, I think is just a blessing for so many.
We are so incredibly happy and humbled the fact that City of Hope listened to the voices of the residents of Orange County. You know, a lot of our patients, a lot of our friends, they go all the way to Duarte for service. Now we know that we're going to have a home in not only Newport, but in Irvine.
I think sometimes when organizations expand, they worry about losing what that something special is. And I hope that people understand how seriously I take that responsibility of what we deliver here doesn't lose the essence of what City and who City of Hope is.
Welcome back. Wow, they've taken a look at the video. That is awesome.
Oh, you know, every time I see it, it gives me chills because it's so exciting, and you can feel the energy coming through that video that this is really happening, and we're on the ground, and the excitement that the community and the personnel of City of Hope are showing about this new campus is really amazing. And it's just so great to be part of it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the features that it has. It's on a very large area, 11-acre area. What is it comprised of?
Well, it's an 11-acre campus at the 5 Points campus in Irvine, which is like right across from the train station. So it's going to be pretty much right smack in the middle of Orange County, so that it'll be easy access. As you know, there's a lot of freeways from all directions converging in that location, so it's going to be very easy access. But on that 11 acres, we're first going to open an outpatient cancer center. Now, the outpatient cancer center is the building that was shown in the video, and we are well into construction on that building and into retrofitting the building for medical uses. So we're very excited about that. The outpatient cancer center is scheduled to open in August of 2022. Now, right adjacent to it, we are going to be building Orange County's only cancer specialty hospital. And so what does that mean? Well, we have so many wonderful hospitals in Orange County, but they do cardiac, they do orthopedics, they deliver babies, they do everything, and they are our community safety net. They're wonderful. But this hospital is only going to do cancer. So you can rest assured that every single person who's going to be on that campus is experienced, knowledgeable. They spent their life doing cancer research and cancer treatment, and it is going to be a really special facility. So these two buildings, once they're both completed, you're going to be able to walk from one to the other. It's going to feel like it's one building, but it'll actually be two. The hospital, we're hoping to break ground on it later this year, and if we do, then I'm going to give you an exact opening date of the hospital.
That's great. Now, not only are you going to have the hospital, but you're going to have research as well, right?
Yes. That's one of the needs that we identified in Orange County when City of Hope decided to come to Orange County. Unfortunately, there is not a deep bench in access to clinical trials in Orange County. And that's one of the things that we'll be doing on that campus is clinical trials, so that the people of Orange County have access to some of the latest treatments and research that are going on in the field of cancer.
Right. Now, one thing I did hear is that you have solicited responses from patients about how to design some of the interiors. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we've gone pretty broad on that. You know, Orange County is a pretty diverse community, and cultures have really specific feelings about their desires when they come into a healthcare facility. So we've tried very hard to solicit feedback from various contingents in the community. And, you know, it goes from just broadly how it's laid out to materials that are used to, you know, the feeling that they want when they come into a medical facility like we're building. So all along the way, we've had patients be part of it. Now, you saw in the video that they were included in some of the structural design, but we also include them in some of the other softer touches on the interior. And so when we come to a particularly hard problem and we go, oh, we don't know, we just can't decide, we go, let's let the patients help us.
Yeah.
We have a patient committee who we call in and say, tell us, how would you like it to be?
That's great.
Be your preference. So we feel really proud that we want Orange County to feel like this is their place.
Right.
They had a hand in this, that we're a neighbor. We're a neighbor in the Orange County community, and they've been part of creating it.
Tell me a little bit about, you're a leader in cancer research, cancer treatment. You say City of Hope. People pretty much know what you do. During this pandemic time, what have you felt has been at the forefront of your operating?
Well, City of Hope is I know a lot of people know we do advanced cancer treatments, but I think they don't often understand the extent of some of the innovation in science that City of Hope is doing. And when you go through a time like this, this is when the best of that kind of DNA comes out. When you're under challenge, people do one of two things. They either batten down the hatches and try to keep things the same, or they say, wow, look at all this change that we're having, and what kind of opportunities does this present to us in the way that we're delivering care or the way that we're operating. For instance, I want to say it was within 2 weeks, maybe it was 3, City of Hope went from everybody being in the office to, I think, 50% of our workforce working from home. And it has really challenged us to think differently of what do we need on site? What do we need at home? How are people most productive? The same thing with patients. I know a lot of organizations have gone through telemedicine, and what's the role of telemedicine long term? I can tell you that I am super spoiled now. I don't ever want to have to go into an office again if I don't have to. I love that I can talk to my doctor, in the middle of my day, and I didn't spend 2 hours, coming and going. But I think my point is that organizations who look at challenges like this and say, what opportunity can come out of this? What can I learn to make the future better, to make it better for my patients, to make better use of our community's resources? That's the organizations that will survive and thrive under a challenge. Right. And I believe City of Hope is one of those organizations.
Very, very well said. And we're thankful that you're here in Orange County, that's for sure. Many of our residents, patients, if you will, were frightened to get care. They didn't want to continue with their care, even though I know many times we have said, cancer doesn't stop. What would you tell those folks now?
I think one of the unintended consequences of COVID during the shutdown was that a lot of preventative care in particular was put on hold. Cancer cells in a person's body, they have no respect for, we're under quarantine, we're under shelter at home orders. I'm going to just sit back and wait till things are good again. And unfortunately, a large amount of preventative care has gone unattended. And we know the statistics of that are starting to come in. We're seeing the effects. Now, it doesn't mean that your body is not reacting. As I said, the cancer cells or whatever, if it's your heart condition or your diabetes, these things don't stop because of COVID. They're not afraid of COVID. They're going to proceed. So I encourage everybody out there. I know it's a hassle. I know it's more cumbersome than it usually is. Do your preventative care. Absolutely don't let those things stop. Make sure that you're doing it, and it should be one of your first priorities. And I know all the primary care physicians in particular are very concerned about their patients and feel the same way. Get out there and get it. I know it's a pain, but get out there and get your preventative care. Take care of yourself, because you might not get sick from COVID, but what good is that if you get sick from something else?
Exactly.
So I really encourage everybody to go out and get their preventative care and make that one of your first priorities. The second is, if your doctor says get that vaccine, go get that vaccine. Because, we're seeing the numbers in Orange County already. They're starting to come down pretty dramatically.
Right.
I have to, my hat's off to the Orange County Health Department, and they've got a heavy lift to try to vaccinate 3 million people, but they're making great strides at it every single day. Every single day, thousands of people are being affected positively. So we're just going to have to work at it as a community and work at it together and get it done.
Exactly, and it's something that we say is, it takes a village.
It does take a village. But I have to say that's one of the things I love about Orange County. Even though we have 3 million people, we have these wonderful communities that really do care about each other and care about our larger community too. So yeah, it takes a village, and it takes all of us doing our part.
Exactly. Well, Annette, it was so lovely to catch up with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was great seeing you too. And I want to say hello to all your listeners out there. And if there's anything I can ever do, never hesitate to contact me.
All right. Annette, thank you again.
Thank you, Lisa. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lisa Hart, and join us next time as we discover more about your health.